Welcome to More Than a Parent, a podcast exploring who we are and what we want outside of being a parent, so we can create an integrated lifestyle with impact both in and out of our homes. I'm Caz Gaddis, and I invite you to join me to be your more, live your and. Welcome to the More Than a Parent podcast. I'm Caz Gaddis. If you turned in, I sounded like Medea just there. If you tuned in to our last podcast, episode 9, we talked about productivity during this pandemic and things that we can consider doing to support us as we go forward into this kind of uncertain and unknown time, but also with a very empowered view of looking at what's possible, looking at what could work for you. So I hope that really served you. That was E009. If you go to cazgaddis.com/E009. Today's episode is going to be on the self-care piece. So if you heard again the last episode, I was in a place where I was feeling super paralyzed. There was just so much emotions going on, my own as well. And instead of staying in a place of being paralyzed in that, which I was, because it's a very real thing, especially when you have kids, it's looking at what is possible now. And so with that piece, we shared productivity on the last episode, and this one is going deeper. This one's going into how is it that you want to process through the feels that you're feeling, and then what do you want to do once you're there. So this episode is going to be even more heart-centered on that. I have some things as well that I'll be sharing. Before we go into that piece, I do want to share this will be available at cazgaddis.com/podcast. Specifically for this episode, you can also download the More Than a Parent Roundup on self-care. It's a guide for you available at cazgaddis.com/E010. So before I go into this more, and the reason I kind of had that pause that you heard there for a moment is this is a very real time. This is all affecting us in all different ways, and at the same time in very similar, real ways. I want to first do a collective pause with you. There's a power in the pause. And this is something that I mentioned in the productivity one that I love to do when I'm going into a call and I'm transitioning from one call to the next, or one activity, especially when you're balancing everyone being at home into the next. And so we're going to experience that together, because I think that will help us. And it may sound counterintuitive being on a podcast and doing this, but I'd love to share that with you. So what I'm doing is I'm getting on my phone, which is nice and sparkly, and it says More Than a Parent. And I'm putting on a 1-minute timer. So for the next minute that we're here together sharing the space, I invite you to truly see how you can pause what's going on around you, or at least pause within yourself. If you can close your eyes, do that. If you feel weird doing that, then don't do that. But just take a moment to just listen to the quietness, and let that re-center you for the rest of this podcast, because I really want this to serve you. And so we're going to take this minute collectively now. Okay, so that's a minute of time. I know it probably felt like a long time if you haven't done something like this before, but my hope is that in experiencing that now, you could also come back to that same feeling and experience that at another time that would serve you. So with us talking about self-care and where we are right now as a mom, especially, we're having to serve and nurture everyone and do all the things in a whole new level for most of us, right? Having the kids at home, the spouse at home if you have one, whatever it is, it's a whole new heightened level of being a mom. I laugh because that helps me get through it. It's funny. So when it comes to self-care, the first thing is really that I want to share myself as we go into the tips that everyone else is going to share. So if I hadn't mentioned that yet, this is a podcast roundup. So we have some amazing women that are going to be sharing with us on what helps them be able to recenter, recharge, replenish, and refocus on the self-care side right now, because we are in a pandemic and there's just a lot going on that we're having to manage both inside of ourselves and outside of ourselves. In my own experience, I've talked to probably 40 to 50 moms, specifically in my business, in my More Than a Parent coaching practice. And the biggest thing is that when we're in a place where we're feeling just kind of broken down energetically or emotionally or all the things, we're serving from a place of exhaustion, right? When you're in exhaustion, all you can put out is exhaust. And so when we work on our energy and how we're showing up, when we work in that personal power piece, we're able to elevate that energy so that we can serve from a place of abundance and overflow, so that we don't have to be like, oh man, well, I have nothing left to replenish myself. So the first thing is self-compassion. Self-compassion could be just taking a 1-minute break to pause and just let everything chill out, right? Because there's a lot going on. And having self-compassion in yourself, regardless if you work for someone or now you're working for someone at home possibly, or for your own business, it's knowing that you are totally doing the best you can, given the specific situation you're in, the specific way that things are showing up in your life and how it's affecting you. You are doing the best you can. So please love yourself as if you were your friend, that you would tell them all sorts of amazing things. It's so easy for us internally sometimes to say things that could really break us down. And just focus on the compassion piece and just flex that muscle this upcoming week. Look at ways that you can love yourself more through this, because it will help you get through it, and it'll help you serve and nurture and be at a whole new level. That 1-minute reframe definitely helps. And then also looking at what do you need right now? There's times where we allow ourselves to be led by fear and anxiety versus what is actually possible beyond that.
Hi there, this is Kristen Brenner from Integrity Mind Body. I am a social worker and a yoga teacher. I teach embodiment, mindfulness, self-compassion, and I like to help parents learn to really show up as their authentic selves in their parenting relationship. So I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about how we can remain productive in our work as we try to stay really deeply connected in our families through this time. So really what I want to look at today is the work of self-compassion, because it really lays it all out for us. It's a beautiful way for us to think about this. So in self-compassion, there are 3 components. There's common humanity, there's mindful awareness, and there's self-kindness. And we can really look at all of those as they apply today. Really, we're experiencing right now the greatest experience of common humanity that we've ever seen. We are all truly in this together. Everyone is going through the same experience and, finding our way at the same time. So we know we're not alone. We also then can become aware of what our needs are in this moment and what are the needs of our children and our families, to have that sense of mindful awareness. And lastly, we can figure out what we need and ask ourselves the question, what do I need right now? What do my kids need right now? So we can approach ourselves with a sense of kindness and compassion. So the first thing that I want to start with is really being clear about what are you feeling right now. So take a few moments, a couple of times a day really, to settle with yourself and really acknowledge, what am I feeling? It might be fear. You might be having a racing mind. Your stomach might really be upset. Any of those things are normal right now and all very typical. And you can take the time to then also ask your kids, what are they feeling right now? And really allow them that process of talking it out a little. And of course, the younger they are, the less you might do that. You'll, certainly check in with them. But as they get older, you can ask them that specific question. And once we get clear about how we feel, we can begin to ask ourselves the quintessential question of self-compassion, which is, what do I need right now? What do I need in this moment? And we can ask ourselves that question and then ask our kids, what do you need right now? And really listen to that answer. Sometimes what they might need is time with us. That's how they're regulating their own emotions. That's how they co-regulate, by being with us. And guess what? We co-regulate by being with them. So it's healthy and helpful for us too. So the kids are looking to us to set the tone for them and to let them know that everyone has needs in the family, and we will meet those needs and work hard to make everything happen that needs to happen, but that we need their help too. So the next thing we want to look at is setting reasonable expectations and then beginning to set our boundaries. What boundaries are we setting? How can we say, I'm going to work for a little while and then I'll be with you for a little while as well? And plan, let them know ahead of time, planning for time together. What are you going to do specifically with your kids each day? And letting them know so that they're aware that they'll have time with you. So I hope that's helpful, and I hope am wishing everyone great peace as we try to get through this time. So best of luck. Sending love.
Awesome. And so just to be clear, first off, that was beautiful. And I was like all into it as well. That was for the productivity section, right? Or was that for the self-care piece?
Well, we had talked about kind of combining the two of self-care, how that relates to being more productive,
Yeah.
that when we're really caring for ourselves, that it really starts with taking that time to care for ourselves and our kids, and then it allows us to maybe be a little more productive and have better time, more efficient time to work.
Perfect. Yeah, and I remember a little bit about that conversation. I was wondering too, if you wanted to, because I didn't realize you had the yoga background as well, and the meditation piece. If you'd like, I could include that more in the productivity one. And then if you wanted to, again, if it's off the whim, and if you rather not, that's okay too. But if you'd like to do something for the self-care one, focus more on mom. And just maybe just like time for her, if there's either a quick thing that they can do to reset. Maybe it's not a full meditation, but I don't know, something, does that resonate with you? And if it doesn't, again, that's okay.
Yeah, no, it does. There is, I teach, I'm a trained teacher in mindful self-compassion, which is an 8-week. And in the very first session of that, often we do it even in an orientation session. So before we start, there's a practice called the self-compassion break, which is kind of what I talked about in the beginning, of recognizing this is a moment of suffering. I'm in a moment of struggle right now. Others are having the same experience. I'm not alone, and this is what I can do for myself. And sometimes it's as simple as putting a hand on the heart. People, it might be a hug. Some people get like, oh, I can't. I tend to be more like, I would never like hug myself, but the hand on the heart works for me, and I've been doing it, all the time. So I could go through a quick self-compassion break.
I love that.
As a practice.
Yeah. So, and I'm very big as a coach and as a mom, into the self-compassion and surrender. Those two things have changed my whole way of approaching life, and just being able to work through emotions and all the different energy levels and such. And so I think that would be so amazingly powerful for them to hear that from you. And if you'd like, again, depending on how you want to show up, but even sharing with them like, hey, like the whole hugging thing may feel weird to you. I know it did to me, but the hand of my heart, you know, just really just being, your whole self, because a lot of parents right now are freaking out with, I'm like, I'm not going to hug myself right now. Like what's going on? There's kids around, you know? So, so it just depends, but that would be wonderful. And so I can go on mute again if you'd like, or if you want some time to.
Like 5 seconds to run and get my meditation, because I don't read the whole thing, but it's so that I don't miss a piece of it.
Sure. Yeah. And you're welcome to read it too, if it helps. Cause I know I kind of just, asked you to do this impromptu, but you're awesome. So go ahead and take your time to get it. Yeah.
All right. Let me just go grab the book and take me just a sec.
Sure.
Okay, so.
And also to let you know, Kristen, for this episode on the self-care, it's up to 5 minutes for that one. So if it takes some time to walk through that, that's why I wanted to give it more time if there's a process to walk through. And that way you can feel more like, okay, I can speak slower and whatever you want to do. So.
Okay. All right, great. So it's typically a 10-minute meditation. It's fine. I can do it in 5 minutes, and
Let's do it in 10.
To do it quicker, because
we can do it in 10 if you want.
Drawn out, yeah.
Yeah, if you're cool with 10, if you want to do that. I have time. I don't have another podcast recording until a little bit from now. So what would you like to do?
Well, why don't we just go through, and rather than feeling pressured, we'll just see how it comes out.
Perfect.
Yes, I won't leave huge breaks like I might in an in-person group of people where we're all, kind of doing it together and breathing together. And so it'll probably be maybe around 8 minutes, but
yeah,
work.
That's perfect. Yeah. Just we can release the concept of time in this, and then just because if it needs to be its own separate thing, it's more about serving them and connecting them to what it is that you're sharing with them than time. I'm Hispanic, so me and time have a whole relationship anyway.
I love it. That's great.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself, and whenever you want to start, you can.
And should I introduce myself again?
Yes, please. Yes, great question. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Also at the end, you can mention that you have more resources on your website. And then again, I can link that in the show notes.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Hi there, this is Kristen Brenner from Integrity Mind Body. I am a trained teacher in Mindful Self-Compassion, which is an 8-week series designed to help people learn how to treat themselves the way that they would treat a dear friend in times of struggle. And we certainly at this moment are all in really big struggle and trying to find our way. So I wanted to sit with you today and help you with this practice through the Self-Compassion program. The practice is called Self-Compassion Break, and it's a very simple practice that you can really do moment to moment. So I'll just dive in and begin. If you're comfortable, take a nice seat. You can lie down if you'd like, and let your eyes close partially or fully. You can allow yourself to really just be in this moment of struggle that we're in right now. Letting yourself really recognize what you're feeling. How does the body feel in this moment? How is the mind? What's your emotional state? Allow yourself to really see, hear, and feel your way into this very moment right now, this moment of struggle. And so noticing where in the body you feel this the most. Make contact with that sense of discomfort. And once that place of discomfort, that sense of discomfort is clear to you, say to yourself slowly and very kindly, this is a moment of suffering. You can say, this is difficult. It's really hard to be in this moment right now. I'm feeling very stressed. You're allowing yourself a sense of mindful awareness of what's happening right now. This is a moment of suffering. From there, allow yourself to recognize that suffering is a part of living. You can say to yourself, I'm not alone. Others are experiencing this just like me right now. We all struggle in our lives. And this is how it feels to struggle through this right now. And this is called common humanity, understanding that our experience is shared by many others. And we certainly can feel that today. And now you can decide for yourself what's most comfortable. So you might place a hand over the heart. You might place a hand on the belly. You might draw a hand up to the cheek or both hands, or even give yourself a gentle hug, and recognizing that whatever touch works for you right now is what you should do, what you should stay with. Finding a touch that feels soothing. This actually is activating a very old and deep part of ourselves, this mammalian response system. And so from here, once you've found that soothing touch, you can allow yourself to say, may I give myself what I need right now? May I accept myself exactly as I am in this moment? May I love myself even as I struggle. May I love myself through the struggle. This is called self-kindness. And we can do this anytime. Taking a moment to place the hand on the heart, recognize the very real things that you're feeling right now. Recognize that others would feel exactly the same way. And asking for yourself to be kind in this moment. Sometimes we can have difficulty finding the right words. It can feel awkward to speak to ourselves in this way. So you can just imagine what you would say to a friend if she were struggling at this time. And say to yourself those exact things. This is a moment of suffering. Suffering is a part of living. May I be kind to myself. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. And that practice can be really done in a quick moment. This is a moment of suffering. May I be kind to myself right now. Thank you. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to go to my website, which is integritymindbody.com. I have all of I have many meditations recorded, and they're on my website on the self-compassion page. So you can click right on self-compassion, and you'll find those right there. So thank you so much.
Good morning, friends. So I have 8 acts of self-love that I want to tell you about today. And I tell everybody that I know about these. I tell my clients this because I'm a mental health provider in Allen. But now more than ever, it is the time to really focus on your mental and emotional health. You've got the time for it, and it's a really tough time. So I've got an acronym. It spells out self-love. And by the way, you will get this download and more information about self-love if you'll just click the link that is given to you. But here are the 8 things. Number 1, I want you to sleep like a baby. So set up good sleep hygiene and sleep like a baby. You absolutely need it. Number 2, engage your body in nature. So get outside, see the greenery, take a walk around the block. We're isolated in our homes and we have to keep social distance, but we can still get outside, and that's really important for our emotional health. Number 3, listen to motivational media. This is self-helpery for your soul. So download a podcast, a TED Talk, an audiobook that really speaks to you, that can be your cheering section in the background. Number 4, I want you to filter through all the psychological noise and the negativity by using meditation. Take just 10 minutes to sit in silence and only focus on your breathing. That is really imperative. Number 5, I want you to load up on love from your inner core. Your friends and your support system is still here for you. Reach out to them, especially through some of the media and online video that we have available to us right now. Number 6, I want you to open your emotional energy by reading books of fiction. Get to see other perspectives. You want them to see your perspective. It's a really good time to immerse yourself in other people's lives and understand what they're going through, and to kind of lose yourself for a moment. And books of fiction help you do that. Number 7, I want you to visualize the life that you want. So every single day, set an intention, visualize how your day is going to be. And the biggest piece of advice I have, get up. Number 8, enrich your body with nourishing food. So avoid ultra processed foods. If you can grow it or you can raise it, you should put it in your body because it's got the absolute best nutrients for you. We've got to keep our immune systems healthy right now, but we've also got to keep our emotional and mental well-being in tip-top shape. These 8 things are going to help you get there. Good luck. Bye.
So there you have it. We've talked about emotions, we've talked about expression and dance and just taking a break through all of it. We've shared different ways that have worked for us. Now it's your opportunity to look at and try on some of the things that you heard on this episode and see what would best serve you where you are right now. Maybe you try one of these ideas a day or one of these insights every few days and see what works for you. I look forward to seeing what serves you and what you think of it. Please make sure that you have support around you. Make sure that you have a community around you rallying, letting you know that it's possible and that you are possible. Go to facebook.com/groups/more than a parent. We would love to have you join us. We have a lot of fun things in store in there, and also a space to talk about the not fun things. Whatever it is that you need, rally around you a community of moms that can support you and elevate you in the moments that you don't feel like you got it. Because Mom, I promise you, you got this, and we'll all get through this together. So, thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than a Parent. To be your more, live your and.
Continue the conversation and connect at facebook.com/groups/more than a parent.